The Supreme Court just handed down a ruling that could have a big ripple effect, and it centers on the criminal case of a former Chicago alderman. NBC5 Investigates' Bennett Haberly is here now with what that high court ruling means here. Bennett?
Yeah, Alex, the case involves former Chicago alderman Patrick Daley Thompson, who is the nephew and grandson of two former Chicago mayors, Richard M. and Richard J. Daley. Now, Thompson was convicted back in 2022 of making false statements to bank regulators. So the high court today sided with Thompson in that it called into question how a federal law was applied to convict him. And it all centers around the difference between false and misleading statements. Patrick Daley Thompson's criminal case centers around 3 loans he took out from a Bridgeport bank. When that bank failed, court records show regulators from the FDIC sought to collect. When questioned, Thompson told them he borrowed $110,000, omitting the fact that he later borrowed more money, a total of $219,000. That is the statement that's in question. A jury later convicted him, and he appealed. The Supreme Court's ruling Friday sends the case back down to the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals to consider whether the statements made by Thompson were ultimately false. The Chief Justice pointing out that false and misleading statements are 2 different things, and using this analogy, saying that if a tennis player says that she won the championship when her opponent forfeited, her statement, even if true, might be misleading, adding that the statute used to convict Thompson only uses the word false. This afternoon, we spoke to former federal prosecutor Ron Safer.
Mr. Thompson gets very little comfort from this opinion. It will help other people, but not him, because the court said, and in concurrence, Justice Jackson specifically said that the 7th Circuit really has nothing to do but to find him guilty, because while his statement was literally true, he borrowed $110,000. In context, it was false because it gave the wrong amount.
Now, Ron Safer saying this ruling, again, is significant because it could make it harder on future prosecutions and could end up with Thompson's conviction ultimately, even though this was vacated, ultimately being upheld if the appeals court determines those statements were in fact false. We attempted to contact Thompson. We were able to reach his attorney, who provided us a statement that says, quote, "We are very pleased with the result. This vindicates what we've been trying to convince the DOJ of all along." Alex?
The distinction between false and misleading, so important here. All right. Thank you, Bennett.